Hi, I'm Jennifer McGrail. Up next, everything you need to know about last week's government meetings on The Rundown. The Finance Committee met on Monday and Thursday last week in preparation for the upcoming town meeting on Monday, October 24th. Their focus, reviewing and voting recommendation on the warrant articles. Discussion centered around the CPC fund projects. Questions were raised as to why the committee allocated $20,000 to the Joe Jefferson Windmill Restoration Project at Uptuxet when the Historical Preservation Committee asked for just over $15,000. Barry Johnson explained in detail that these numbers, while made in good faith, are just estimates, and once a contractor gets going, they may discover more damage than previously thought and thus could need additional funding. They wanted to be sure they had enough funding to complete the project and get everything up to snuff. Discussion then was centered around turning back funds that were not needed if they weren't fully required. Damage from woodpeckers and storms have prompted this request.
Condition of it, etc. We feel that probably will find a little bit more damage than originally thought. They did have a price quotation from a local historical restorer of about $17,280. Obviously, if we're spending our money, so it'll have to go out and get 3 quotations, which will be handled by Marlene as the procurement officer. But it's basically to conduct a restoration project of the Joseph Jefferson Windmill located on the grounds of the Uptuxet Post.
I think part of the concern is that the estimate provided, it's not firm. So we have to go out to at least three qualified firms. And we just want to the Community Preservation Committee wants to make sure that there's adequate funding.
Once the Finance Committee was satisfied about the funding, further questions and discussion followed regarding the breaking up of CPC articles at town meeting. Voters have expressed frustration at the approval of the all or nothing format at the town meeting floor in the past. Planning Board Chairman Dan Doucette took to public comment to express his thoughts on how the town successfully has handled this issue previously without having to make significant changes to the town meeting warrant.
Dan Doucette, Miami Beach, also on the CPC committee. Barry Johnson, our chair. In the past, you're mentioning about breaking up CPC articles. Barry seems to be doing a good job breaking out the controversial ones, and he leaves all the other ones in an omnibus. Very similar like capital outlay, when you throw all the articles into one. But anything that's controversial, that we, the committee, feels controversial, we break it out. And then the other articles go as an omnibus. And those can be spoken to at town meeting floor as well.
Thank you. I know there were comments at the last town meeting about breaking them up because some people were for some and not for others, and putting them together was causing an issue.
Another article that was heavily debated was Article 16, a petition to amend the zoning bylaw 2842A and B, performance standards for residential uses. Cheryl Green, General Counsel for the Tides at Bourne, commonly known to the residents of Bourne as the Calamar Project, across from Bourne Town Hall, took to the podium seeking this request because while the new 55-plus active residents community is supportive of affordable housing, they are unable to allocate 10% toward Bourne's affordable housing initiatives per the DHCD rules, which says that no 55-plus community can do that.
Once we are able to get our certificate of occupancy, and again, we are only looking to have a very narrowly tailored exception to the article that accepts out active adult senior housing, which DHCD does not allow to be registered as part of its program.
The petition comes as a result of not being able to meet the new affordable housing requirements for a project of its size, being that it has over 55 units. 10% would have to be allocated for affordable housing according to zoning bylaw changes made in 2018 by the town of Bourne. Since the tides were approved by the planning board in 2017, however, they will be able to proceed with their project under this prior agreement.
Based on the discussion at the Finance Committee last night and a comment that your town planner, Jennifer Copeland, brought up, Council and Jennifer and I have kind of been discussing this since last night. And what we have determined is that the project, based on the date it applied for the special permit by the planning board and was granted its special permit by the planning board, the current rules were not yet in place. So we went back and we are confident in saying that the project is proceeding and can proceed without this zoning amendment.
The other big discussion item on Tuesday was regarding the recycling changes proposed by Dan Barrett. While the changes were few in nature, it was of note about price change increases on certain items like tires and waistband items including textiles, mattresses, and box springs that must be recycled and cannot end up in the landfill. Although this isn't a big change for Bourne, as they have been actively doing this for the last 6 years. Household Hazardous Waste Recycling Day is on Saturday, October 22nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and shredding will also be available. March 25th through October 7th, the paint shed will be open. You may recycle up to 10 cans per day. The other exciting thing with the recycling program is that compost barrels, which $40, are now only $25 thanks to the Food Waste Drop-Off Center.
Column. Compost bins, this is a good one. If we drop the price, they were previously $40 a piece. If we dropped it to $25, combined with our new food waste drop-off center, again, that contributed to us getting the 2 RDP points and another $2,600 in grant money.
And for Thursday's Finance Committee meeting, final votes were taken, although for a couple of articles, no action were taken, as the Finance Committee will need to meet again one more time before town meeting, especially regarding train. Town Administrator Marlene McCullum explained that while we have a do not exceed number, we do not have a final number for the projects, and our interest rates have gone up. And because of this, we're either going to have to cut some of the projects to remain within the budget that we previously stated, or we're going to have to increase the budget. So the planning board, the Finance Committee will meet to discuss these.
We've been working regularly with Train. My last conversation with them was at 5:30 this afternoon. And there's a couple of things that we're still working through. One is our interest rate has changed. So we are meeting with Bank of America tomorrow morning about the interest rate. And it's not changed in a favorable direction. It's unfavorable to us, of course. And then probably as no surprise, firm pricing for this equipment is coming back higher than estimated. So what that means is that essentially the not to exceed number is $5.6 million. However, I'm going to ask you not to vote that tonight because I can't tell you what scope you'd be buying for that. And I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to say that, because we've shown you our estimates. We've shown you what we're estimating we can do. Now that we're getting the firm pricing, and now that we, hopefully tomorrow with Bank of America, will have a locked-in interest rate, we'll have to sit down, the working group will have to sit down, and they'll have to decide what to cut.
That's going to do it for this week. The Select Board will be meeting on Tuesday, October 11th, and the Planning Board will meet on Thursday, October 13th. they have a couple of motions. They will have public hearings regarding signs, sky dancers, feather signs, as well as parking initiatives. So you can check those out at borntv.com or watch them live on Channel 15. They both begin at 7 o'clock. And again, just a final reminder, town meeting is coming up Monday, October 24th at 7 p.m. at the Bourne High School Auditorium. So that's it for this week. I'll see you next time on The Rundown.